Hello, hello, Laurel Dawn Houston here. I want to thank you for joining Body Mapping with Laurel on Mapping Mondays. For those of you who have never joined us before, welcome. For those of you who are joining again, thank you so much for coming back, for being a part of this, for wanting to learn. Hey, Chelsea. I am really excited to share body mapping today about calves. Now, I had a couple of people ask me a couple of questions. So first, they wanted to know about these body mapping cards, and that is what I've been using to pick the topics lately. Yes, I am getting ready to sell them. It's a small deck. I think there's only 28 cards because it's meant to be added to. So when those are ready, I'm waiting for another shipment to come in. And then yes, I will make those available for you guys to purchase. So thank you so much for even being interested or wanting to be to have those. Hey Shanna, hey Spring. Oh, I'm seeing all these people. I miss people so much. Anyway, okay. So for body mapping, with calves, my first question is, how many of you have ever had a Charlie horse before, where all of a sudden you have like this excruciating pain in the back bottom half of your leg, in your calf right there? That there are physiological reasons for that, especially in small children and teenagers. A lot of people have growing pain in their calves. So with all of this, every time I teach, especially when I talk about symptoms, because I try to stay away from them, but when I'm talking about symptoms, please remember, if it matches, you don't overanalyze it. So what I mean by that is, if you if someone has a rag full of dust and they go like this and you sneeze, that symptom matches. If you walk in a room that has nothing that you could be allergic to and you just randomly sneeze for no reason, that's a symptom that I consider to be a message. So symptoms are not good or bad or right or wrong. They're just messages from the body. And when we listen to those messages, then we are able to, not for many years. Oh, Charlie horses. Okay. And when we listen to the symptoms of the body, we are actually able to correct those. So with your calves, physiologically, your calf muscles are the one muscle or set of muscles in your body that lift you higher. Your entire body high. Excuse me. You can raise your arms, but that doesn't lift your being higher. You can raise your eyebrows, but that doesn't lift who you are to a higher level. So your calves, in conjunction with other muscles and tendons and whatever in your legs, ankles, in your feet, lift you. But the muscle group that's in charge of making you go higher than you currently are your calf muscles. So your hips, and we've talked about hips before, so if you didn't catch the video on hips, you can look in the video section, or I think it is getting posted on YouTube next week. And you can watch the one about hips and butts. But your hips are all about balance. They're a woman's ability to lift herself up and move herself forward. It's where we hold our feminine energy. It's the thing that keeps us in balance and in flow without getting stuck in perfectionism and control. It lets us go into understanding and managing rather than do this like this. This is really crucial because a lot of the women, most of the women, in fact, that I work with, are into personal development in some way or another. So they are women who, read books, or they take classes, they have life coaches, they're doing something that they are purposefully trying to improve their mindset, their skill set, their quality of life. They are actively participating on up-leveling. So these women, and when they first start that change, sometimes will start to have problems with their calf muscles again, or anytime they are starting to have a huge leap or change in their up-leveling process, because your calf muscles hold your ability to lift yourself to a new level. They also hold your standards and values. So if you have never thought of this before, just take a moment and ask yourself, what do I stand for? Now, um, that is something, if you want to put in the comments, you can. If that's just something that you want to make a list on your own, you can. But I do not want this to turn into any kind of a debate at all. So ask yourself, what do I stand for? Does it align with my personal values? Because your calves and your shins together hold your personal values, your ability to lift yourself, your standards, and they keep those all in balance. Okay? So I want to list those again. Your personal standards, your personal values, your ability to lift yourself up, and your ability to stay balanced while doing that, while working on those things. So from a physical perspective, it makes total sense that, young kids, teenagers, even into your early 20s, you could have growing pains, physical growing pains in your legs, because they're growing, they're stretching, they're reproducing cells at an exponential rate and an ability to get you to the heights you're supposed to be. I'm using my words intentionally. Your legs are one of the things that are going to get you to the height you are supposed to be. But because our Creator has a desire for you to continue to progress, your calf muscles allow you to elevate yourself higher anytime you need to. So in your calf muscles, we hold the ability to lift ourselves to a new standard. So when you are going against your personal values, you have problems with your calves, or they're not defined. So have you ever known someone who's worked out and worked out and worked out and their calf muscles will not define? It's because their personal standards and their personal values either do not align or are not defined. So the more you define and refine what you hold as a value and what you stand for, the more definition your calf muscles will create on their own. When you have no idea what you stand for, when you have no idea what you believe, when you are going against the values that you hold, you will have aches or pains, and those are yearnings in your calf muscles. So if you are someone who's constantly trying to progress, you're part of the personal development world, and you've done all sorts of mind work, which I applaud you for. Mind work is important. But mind work is only part of the puzzle. You have to do body work. A person is a mind, a body, and a spirit or a soul or an energy, whatever you want to call it. So you can't just do work in one area and expect your life to change. You have to do mind, you have to do body, and you have to do spirit work. So your body is trying to tell you that you are out of alignment between your standards and your values. What you say you stand for does not match your values. Okay, so when is that a really, really good thing? Because as I've taught you, not all symptoms are bad. They're just messages. So what if you were raised in a home that valued hard work over smart work? And you, through mindset training and through mentoring, have been taught that it doesn't have to take hard work to get what you want in life. You just have to work smarter, not harder. And all of a sudden, you're trying to allow that new belief system to come into your life. As your mind tries to up-level you, your body has to catch up. So if you have a value system that says be kind to everyone, love those who hate you, and you're starting to be mean and hateful and vengeful, your calves will lose definition and they will lose strength. So reverse that. What if you have been raised in a home that's very spiteful, that's very vengeful, that's very sarcastic, and you choose to only use words of love and care? It can cause the same symptom, because both of those are just trying to say, hey, your standards and your values, the things that you use to lift you to a new place, don't match right now. Do you want them to? Well, if you grew up in a home where sarcasm and vengeance was the way of life and you don't want that anymore, thank your body for showing you that you are releasing old programming, because that's why the symptom came up. If you are downgrading and you are someone who believes in kindness and yet you're being spiteful and malicious and you start to lose definition in your calves, thank your body for showing you that you are out of alignment, that you have lost definition of who you are, which is another thing that we hold in our calves. When we do not know who we are, it is hard to define our goals, our values, our standards, our beliefs, and it is also very hard for your calves to have definition or strength in them. Because knowing who you are is what lifts you up. Knowing what you stand for is what helps you set goals. And when you don't know those things, you spend a lot of time lost and undefined. So in body mapping, when the more definition there is in someone's calf, from a positive perspective, the more I know that they hold true to their standards and their values. The negative side of that could be seen that they are immovable in their standards and values. Well, if it's a very, very crappy family pattern that they're holding true to, it would be okay if they lost definition for a short amount of time while they redefined who they are. There are so many people right now who are going through a redefining of who they are. A lot of people right now are having tight calves. You go to stretch, and some of you are like, I don't get Charlie horses. I haven't had them in years. Can you touch your toes without bending at the knee? Because when we also become so tight and immovable in our standards and in our belief systems and in our values, sometimes they prevent us from stretching to a new height. So I'm trying to use the physical words that also match the emotional and spiritual side of this. If you are not willing to emotionally and spiritually stretch and grow, you won't get to new heights. It is very hard to go up on your tiptoes if your calf muscles are sore and strained or undefined. So many people a lot of women don't really pay a lot of attention to their calves, but I invite you to look to see, are you holding true to your standards and your values? Are they helping you to define yourself and lift you to new heights? Or are they keeping you stuck? Are they keeping you low? Are they keeping you inflexible? I just had to check and see if I can still touch my toes without bending my knees. Yep, I can. And I personally know Julie, and she is someone who is constantly redefining and stretching to new levels. So when we start to lose that flexibility physically, know that you first lost it emotionally and spiritually. You have become stubborn and immovable. That's why all your joints hurt. But that's a different video. So that is something that as you try to redefine yourself, know it will show up in your calves. Okay, now your shins are all about maintaining that balance between your standards and your values, because those are different things, ladies. Your standards and your values are different things. And when they're in alignment, you don't usually have problems with your shins, because your shins are all about keeping them in balance. However, how many people do you know that get shin splints, which is the muscle actually pulling away from the bone, causing excruciating pain? Well, the muscle is the strength and the bone is the foundation. So a lot of people who are chain breakers, meaning that they are changing the way that their family unit has functioned for a very long time, are actually more prone to get shin splints during that division, during that breakaway point. Symptoms aren't good or bad. They're just messages, and more than not, People who are in the personal development world, most of the symptoms you have are your body trying to tell you, we are releasing this old belief. We're getting rid of this. Now, if you're new to the personal development world and you have had chronic pain, that's not the message your body's giving you. Your body is trying to say, we need you to change. We need you to let go of this. We need you to lift yourself up. And as weird as it sounds, start with your calves. Explore them. Find them. Lotion them. Shave them. Massage them. Stretch them. Learn to love your calves because your calves lift you to new heights. If you are in a place that you are wanting to level up, start defining your calves physically and mentally and emotionally, which means say, this is who I am and this is what I stand for. This is why I value that stance, because it brings me truth, because it brings me integrity, because it brings me hope and love. So your standards are usually actions. Your values are usually emotions. And most emotions that people value are emotions based in connections. So that may be a great place for you to start. What are your values? What are your standards? Do they still hold true? Or are you still stuck in a place where your standards and values are those that you were taught when you were 12? Are they actually yours or are they your parents? So define, and for some of you, refine your standards and your values. It affects your calves, your ability to put yourself at a newer, higher level. And I've had, and I apologize if it's you, then say, hey, that was me. But I had someone message me and ask, wondering what you have to do first. Can you do the emotional work first or the body work first? And here is what I say to that. Which ones you have to do? Do you do the mind, the body, or the emotion first? It doesn't matter. But I will say this. If you've done a crap ton of mind work, you've done declarations, you've done visualization, you've done all of these other things that you've been told to do for years, and you still don't have the result you want, stop working on your mind. Go to the physical aspect of it. Start actually doing exercises that strengthen your calf muscles. And then allow yourself to feel what comes up. Because for a lot of people, when they start working on their calves, a lot of childhood memories come up. When they were at a breaking point or a defining moment in their life where they had to decide, is this what I truly believe or is this just what I've been taught? A lot of those memories start to come up when we work with our calves, and it gives you an opportunity to say, this is what I now stand for, and this is what I now value. So if you have always been someone who exercises, but for you, exercise is something that prevents you from getting fat versus exercise is something that connects you spiritually and physically, then change your physical work to actually be body work. Are you aware of the emotions that come up while you work with your body? Are you aware of the thoughts come up while you work with your body? So whatever one you do, know that it changes the other two. So if you are doing mind work, it's going to change your body and it's going to change your spirit. If you do spirit work, it's going to change your body and it's going to change your mind. If you do body work, it's going to change your spirit and it's going to change your mind. So here's a little tip. It is far easier to change your physical body than it is to change your mindset. Which is why I teach people body work. Because people want to see change. And if you want to see change, then you have to start tapping into your body. And as you do, let yourself feel. I invite you to get back in touch with your body. And in this instance, I'm going to say start with your calves. Ask yourself what you stand for. Ask yourself what your values are. And then ask yourself if you're holding true to them or if you've become stubborn and immovable. Flexibility physically is a sign of our emotional flexibility as well. And right now, emotional flexibility is crucial. Feminine energy thrives in being in flow, and inflexible and immovable and stubborn has nothing to do with flow. That's when you get into control and perfectionism. So, for those of you who are really trying to level up, you cannot and will not do it if you are being stubborn and immovable emotionally and spiritually, and it will show up in your physical. So, a couple people have asked if I am going to do the out of overwhelm again. I am. So, if that is something you want to participate in, I am hoping that the registration site will be up either later today or sometime tomorrow. But the dates for that, it will be December 7th through the 12th. And that is going to be, it's called the Out of Overwhelm mini course. It is 5 hours of content, all helping you get out of overwhelm. Part of that is defining who you are. Part of that is saying, these are my boundaries, and this is what I will and will not deal with. So, those of you who have been in this group for a while, if you already signed up for Out of Overwhelm on the last round, you do not need to re-sign up. It will all be done in the group you're already in. If you did not sign up last time and you want to, I will make sure that I get that link posted in here, because it is time for you to define who you are, to refine who you are. And for some of you, that means to re-find who you are. And I would love to be part of that journey for you. So I hope that you look at your calves in a new way. I hope that this was helpful. I invite you to take a look at your own standards and your own values and define them physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Do the mind work, do the body work, do the spiritual work. You do matter. You are important, and you are loved. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Monday Mapping, and I will talk to you ladies later. Bye.